up? What's up? Hey, so this is the first of many podcasts or episodes or discussions where we talk about relationships. This one for me is really just about giving people an opportunity to hear from a different perspective, right? And forgive me, I'm not in my normal, Phil is not included gear. I'm not in my normal studio. I'm in a hotel just kind of chilling and taking care of some business. But I wanted to talk about dating today. And I often hear, always hear, well, you've been out of the dating game for 30 years. How do you know what's going on? So, and just a quick background on me, married, been with the same woman since 1992. But we have friends, right? And like everybody else, society impacts our lives, whether it be social media or events or whatever the case may be. But as modern dating has came about, men and women have changed dramatically and drastically. One of the major changes today is the ability to swipe right, right? And what I mean by that is the apps where you're looking at somebody, and if they don't fit your physical ideal, you just skip over, right? Most of us aren't reading, I say us, I mean men in general, women in general, people aren't reading these profiles unless somebody matches that physical idea that we have. Again, I'm old school, so I came from a different time where you met somebody, you liked somebody, you took somebody out, whatever that case may be. You didn't really focus just on the physical. I mean, physical is important. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's not. If you're not attracted to somebody, you can't deal with them. But there were other things in relationships and other things about relationships that people cared about, right? It wasn't transactional in the aspect of what can you do for me? What can I do for you? What do you bring to the table? That's where we are today. Back then it was like, hey, do I like you? Do you like me? Cool. Let's get together, try to work on something, try to build something. We've lost that. We've lost that across the board, right? Everybody it's almost like everybody's out for themselves, right? And I'm going to say what a lot of people don't want to hear. Men have it worse today than women. Women have a lot of choices. Men are the choices, right? So most men today don't really get an opportunity to get the dating experience, right? They're forced into, not forced, that's the wrong term. They're selected, right, by women who are looking at them based on whatever they can offer. And this is not every woman. Let me stop, because I know I'm gonna catch some shit where somebody's gonna say, oh, not all women are not me, or not all men not me. That's not the case. But I'll take an example. This past weekend, I got an opportunity to hang out with some friends, and one of the gentlemen, it was a new friend, just met him, but he's with a female friend that we've known for a while. Great stand-up dude, right? But dude's in the friend zone, and the friend zone is, to me, if you're in there, you're there by choice. But nonetheless, dude's in this friend zone, but he really likes this chick. And instead of the chick telling the dude, hey, look, I'm not into you, I'm not feeling you, let's just be cool, she takes and plays on his desire to be with her. I mean, it's obvious, right? Dude's following around like a puppy dog. If you see this, you're probably gonna be mad, but the truth is the truth, and it doesn't change no matter who gets upset about it. But he's allowing himself to be used, number one. But number two, she's using this dude for his resources with no intentions on actually dating the dude. I actually pulled him to the side. I'm like, hey man, do you want me to kind of plug y'all up? Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Try to hook y'all up, try to get y'all together. And he told me flat out, nah, man, I'll probably fall in love with her, and she ain't the type of woman I need to be in love with. And so I asked him, I said, well, if you, I've got respect for the fact that you understand what's good for you, but why are you putting yourself in this position, right? He's like, oh, I really want to be your friend. And I can see, in all honesty, there was more than that. He wanted to be more than that, but he knew he wasn't going to get anywhere. But in all fairness to dude, he's a good stand-up dude, smart, you know what I'm saying, decent-looking gentleman. He's got his life in order, but he's not the bad boy type, right? He's not the type that women want. Most women want, right? We always hear about nice guys finish last, shit like that. But that's just what it is. That's who he is. So guys like that are always, it's more guys like that than not. And these guys are always getting the losing end of the stick. And it's kind of sad, but you also put yourself in these situations, do that. So my statement to men and women today is take a step back from transactional dating, take a step back from who looks the best, and start to focus on what is the best for you. I tell my boys, it's not about doing the best you can do right now. What I mean by that is, don't, if you say, hey, I want the best I can have right now in regards to a mate, that's cool. But if you are a man who is growing and has a path of growth, understand that the best you can do from a woman perspective is going to change. And so if you're focused on the best you can do right now, that's always going to change. It means you're always going to be swapping out chicks, which is no different than a woman who's looking for the man with the most money. She's always going to be swapping them out. What I tell my guys is, find a woman that is the best woman for you, not the best person you can be with in the aspect of the prettiest person or whatever, but find somebody who is going to grow with you, adapt with you, go through the struggles with you, help build you up, somebody you can help build up, and not just focus on the shit that at some point is going to go away. There's basic shit that every man needs in his life, and I don't want to get off the attraction thing, because that's required. A woman, from a male perspective, from a man perspective, a woman needs to be, at least for some time, needs to be attracted to her man, right? Because at some point we all lose the physical stuff. But there's the sensual, seductive, sexual, other things that still you always got to have. But anyway, just focus on the, man, I hate to even say it like this because it sounds old school, but focus on somebody's personality that matches yours, or somebody's desires and dreams and goals that matches yours, because all that other shit is materialistic, and it's all going to go away at some point. The dating world today is totally different. We have dating coaches who can't make a relationship work, right? We have dating coaches who've never been married, or dating coaches who've been divorced multiple times and are single now. That shit is crazy, right? Dating is the only industry, or the only subject, or the only concept where we actually go and listen to people who can't get the shit right, who can't make it work, right? So we got to take a step back from listening to those individuals who are not, I'm not gonna say not experts in their field, but who can't practice what they preach. And I'm not a dating expert. I'm not a dating coach. I'm not a relationship expert, relationship coach, none of that shit. I'm gonna tell you what worked for me. You take the pieces you can use and leave the rest. I'm also not saying that because the messenger is a poor example of a wife, or a poor example of a husband, or a poor example of a man or woman, that the message is bad. Take what you can use and leave the rest. But don't build your life or your dating profile, your dating relationship ideas around somebody's words if they can't make it work, right? We wouldn't look at a homeless man and ask him for financial advice, right? Because whatever he's doing is not right. Now, he may say, hey, don't blow all your money. That's a good piece of advice. So you take, understand the messenger, listen to the message, and take the part you can use. But don't base your relationship on what you're looking for around, an individual who, again, can't make the shit work. The other thing we got to talk about is, I'm going to say shaming. I don't necessarily want to call it that, but I don't have another word for it. Men today are actually shamed, or being shamed, if they don't want a certain type of woman, right? I had a get together at my house a while back. We had a bunch of people in the house, and we were kind of talking about dating and relationships. And in this one instance, there was this chick in there, and she's got a larger back. They got a fat ass, not in a bad way, right? And she's always had that her whole life. And she talked about how dudes always body shamed her, or always made references to her body and this, that, and the other. And then in another sentence, turned around, looked at one of my boys, and was like, "Oh man, I'll put you in the backpack," because my bro is short, right? And we kind of just looked at each other like, damn, you just got done complaining about how you've been body shamed your whole life and how it's horrible and nobody should do it, and you turn around and immediately do it. And it's just kind of crazy. So the whole concept of, if you don't like a certain type of person, it's okay. It's a preference, right? A preference is, hey, I don't want to date somebody 6 feet tall. Cool, don't do it, right? A preference is, I don't want to date somebody who weighs this much at this height. Cool, don't do it, right? That's your preference. You don't have to, there's nothing wrong with that. But if, as a man, and for those that know me, I like my wife a little thicker than small, right? So I'm not one to say, hey, don't date somebody who isn't physically fit or perfectly fit. But for a lot of men, if they say, hey, I don't want to date an out of shape or overweight woman, they immediately get told they have a small penis, they're gay, they don't have enough to make it happen, and that's just crazy, right? And if a man says, I don't want to date a woman with multiple kids by multiple men. He's not a real man. He's not willing to step up. He doesn't deserve to be around. And it's crazy. And I don't see that happening to women on the same levels that it happens to men. A broke woman can go to a broke man and say, I won't date you because you're broke. Like, think about how crazy that is. If a broke man went up to a broke woman and said the same thing, she'd laugh at him like, dude, we both broke. What are you talking about? So the double standard right now is kind of crazy. But I will say this, and this is for everybody across the board to hear and understand. In today's world, we give black women way too much problems. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't think there's anything harder right now than being a black woman, because you're catching it from black men, you're catching it from other black women, you're catching it from women of other races, men of other races. It's tough, and I think we've been beating up on sisters a little too hard, a little too long. And there's some accountability needs to be had, right? There's some choices that have been made that led to the situation that we're in. But overall, I think they've been getting it tough heavily for the last, obviously forever, right? For those of us in America. But from a dating and relationship standpoint, it's been a major issue for a while. So I just wanted to kind of jump in really quickly and just kind of have a short conversation. Again, I'm not in my element. I'm not in my studio. I'm not in my gear. So I'm out of my zone here. But I just wanted to have a short, quick conversation about dating in 2023 and going toward 2024, and just really talk about what that looks like. We're going to start doing weekly Wednesday kind of discussions where we talk about relationships, we talk about dating, we talk about different things. We're going to start bringing guests in. We're going to take live questions and answer sessions, stuff like that. But this was just the first one. Didn't want to really do it outside of my studio, but I'm where I'm at and I needed to get it done. So I appreciate y'all for watching this. As we continue to do these, they'll get longer. We'll start, like I said, have more guests, more topics, more content. But just really quickly, I wanted to get out and just kind of put this one out there. So thank you for checking it out. Enjoy your night.